gather your party before venturing forth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dungeon Pub. This is going to be part 2 of the fighter review, and I'm still giddy. I'm still excited. We get to keep on talking about my favorite class in the game. I'm still biased. Yeah, I haven't been cured of that. So I apologize. But with that out of the way, let's dive straight into things. Now, the fighter has 3 martial archetypes that you can choose from straight from the book. There's more in the additional books. We're going to talk about the main 3. If you're interested in the class, obviously you're going to take the time to get into those. We're going to have a separate review, separate book review about these things. But for now, the important thing is this. The 3 archetypes essentially allow you to channel the simplicity of the fighter platform, the simplicity of this class. It allows you to channel your idea, to give you more options, to empower you, essentially to pamper you, to give you further customization options into what you're going for. And you're gonna notice that the champion, the battle master, and the Eldritch Knight essentially are there for one of 3 type of fighter lovers. So the champion, brief overview, we're gonna get into the abilities of each and every one of them separately in this part, but the champion is meant for essentially further simplicity. And you're gonna go, well, dude, like, it's how more simple can you be? You can, and it's right there, and it's possible. But champion is meant for the kind of player, the kind of fighter who doesn't want to delve too deep into all these abilities and spells and thingamajigs. You have your weapon, you have your concept, you have your feats, and you have your understanding of the combat mechanics, and that's all you're ever gonna need. So if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to go for, this is the stuff. This is the stuff for you. The Battle Master is the opposite. See, Battle Master is more fluffy. It also has this amazing new idea of adding maneuvers, which the first time I read through it, the first time me and my DM buddy sat down and read 5th edition, I'm like, man, they gave fighters spells essentially, and yeah, kind of a basic explanation, but it kind of is. It's just kind of how it goes. Maneuvers are gonna add more depth to your fighter. They're gonna add more depth to the combat experience, and this is where the fighter can really be versatile, because a lot of the maneuvers are very fluffy. There's a lot of things that are not just straight up, oh, deal more damage or make that guy glow or things like that. They're very situational, and they allow for a lot of planning and a completely different approach to the standardized roll to hit goblin mechanics that you're used to in an RPG. And then, of course, to cap it off, you have the Eldritch Knight. Now, this is good. This is good from an overall RPG standpoint, and this specialization is good for those fighters who want to delve into magic, who want to be that combination of just brawn or finesse, and just armor and spells, and just be amazing that way. The specific term for it is Gish, I guess, but I never like that. I don't like the word. I'm sorry. Let's take a deeper look. Starting from the champion, its ability number 1 is literally called, improved critical. You cannot mistake that. It allows you to crit on a 19 and a 20, not just a 20. So, yeah, again, as I said, it's kind of simple. It's kind of there for you. Coupled with more attacks, coupled with the capacity to produce situations that grant you advantage, this can be very powerful. Statistically wise, you're gonna go, oh yeah, additional 5% crit. Yep, that's what it is, but it can do some great stuff, and at the right moment, you roll that 19 and you crit the boss, and everybody's like, yeah, wait, why do you crit 19? Never mind, yeah, it's just so good. It's great. Again, geared towards simplicity, geared towards more, of the physical aspect of the fighter. And you get it at level 3 to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. That's before any of the ability score improvements, before you get to pick any feats. So with the right race combo, with the right feat combo, with the right weapon combo, you can do some really solid damage with this, and it's just great when it happens. Moving right along, remarkable athlete. Starting at 7th level, you can add half your proficiency to any strength, dexterity, or constitution check if you make that doesn't already use your proficiency bonus. See, that's great. It's kind of like jack of all trades, but it only works with physical capacities. And additionally, when you make a running long jump, the distance you can cover increases by a number of feet equal to your strength modifier. Okay, all right, that's not bad. Well, I mean, it's not great. But if you have +5 strength, which essentially means 20 strength, it just gives you 5 more feet. If that's ever important in an adventure, like if something very important ever hinges on your capacity to jump more than an additional 5 feet, hey, power to you. It's gonna be there for you. Otherwise, it's more of a fluff addition, just to kind of drive home the point that you are physically better than everybody else. Keep in mind, again, it says any strength, dexterity, or constitution check. So I'm not gonna take the time to explain. Go ask your DM, and he or she is gonna tell you why that's actually kind of good. At level 10, you get to pick an additional fighting style, and this is kind of important. If you go back to fighting styles, you're gonna read that it says you can take a fighting style option more than once, even if you later get to choose again. So you cannot take double archery, you cannot take double defense, but that doesn't mean that you can make a great combo. So that's right there for you. The champion allows it, and it's actually kind of great. It can do some passive things that are always there, always on for you. So mechanic wise, it's really good. Fluffy wise, again, you're just better at physical things than a whole lot of other people. Barbarians, I know you're looking at me, just stay on for a while, I promise. Superior critical, starting at 15th level, just again, same thing, only 18, 19, and 20. So an additional 5% chance to crit. Great stuff. Works kind of like the previous thing, but at level 15, you get to attack 3 times, and there's probably going to be this mechanic that you've chosen, or maybe something that you've gotten to understand that grants you advantage in combat. So this is going to be amazing. Like 3 attacks with advantage, that's 6 rolls, 15% chance. Hey, that math just works for you now. And then at level 18, you get to have Survivor. Essentially what this does for you, at the start of each of your turns, you regain hit points equal to 5 plus your constitution modifier. You have no more than half your hit points left. So if you're below half HP, this kicks in. Again, still passive, still always on. You don't have to cast, you don't have to expend an action. And yeah, I mean, in combat, if you really have that long of a combat, it can amount to some great amounts of HP. You don't have to roll a die for it as well, which is kind of great. And essentially, my personal point of view is that it's actually good for timing between fights, like when you cannot maybe take a short rest, but or maybe you've taken one already in the dungeon, in the world, and this is just gonna make sure that you always enter combat at half HP, which at situations where the clench is going on, this is gonna be very important. And that's it. That's the entirety of the champion class, or rather the archetype. It's really simple, geared towards you not having to make choices, not having to decide whether I use this ability or that ability. Should I do this? Should I do that? And it's appealing to a specific type of player. It is. Some people, it's not about desire to make a complex character. It's not about desire to understand the mechanics. Some people just prefer it easy. They prefer to just get in there and do the business and have fun and make jokes and crack one-liners, and that's right there for you.
Where's the other one? The one with the yellow cloak?
Fuck you!
Those are your last words. Fuck you. Come on, you can do better.
Cunt!
You're shit at dying, you know that.
If you're not that kind of guy, though, if you're the opposite, if you're the kind of girl or kind of guy who likes to go in depth and understand things to the utmost, and just wants to be this very versatile, very controlling, very tactical fighter, then the Battle Master is the archetype for you. And the very first ability at level 3 that you're going to get is Combat Superiority. So this is kind of a long one because it requires a little bit more of ruling to be effective. But essentially what it does is it grants you 4 superiority dice. They increase in number at level 7, 10, and 15. This is important. And what these superiority dice allow you to do, for now they're d8s. They're going to, again, increase later on in capacity as well as in number. They're going to get to be d10s and then d12s. They allow you to pull off combat maneuvers. Just below that, you can see the entirety of the list. There's a lot of maneuvers. I honestly don't want to go through every single one of them right now because getting through the list and picking the ones that kind of pop out to you or the ones that fit your plan is a really cool experience. A few things that are essential if you just looking for the standard garden variety, heavy plate melee guy. Just go for trip attack. Go for riposte, maybe, really good. Pushing attack is really good. What am I looking at? Precision attack, just great, because you're looking at precision attack and you're like, oh, well, it doesn't add any damage. Yeah, but it allows you to hit more, which is important. Disarming attack, stuff like that. These used to be entire feat chains in previous D&D editions. Now it's right there for you. Furthermore, to this point, you can see these interesting, let's say, ideas like a commander's strike or a distracting strike, or let's say a rally. See, these things are very cool because now the fighter is not just this big lumbering plated guy who can take a lot of punishment and can get you there in terms of combat. No, now you can be this supporting kind of heavy guy. You can be the guy who can heal guys. I mean, you're not a cleric or a bard or a druid, obviously, but you can be that additional push, that additional bit that just makes combat just so fun, so easy, and other people in the party can rely on you to be this guy. And yeah, just maneuvers are amazing. The first character I ever did in 5th edition was a Battle Master. It's a character that I still want to play to this day, and it just spiraled out of control out of there. So that's what it did for me. And if, again, I know I've been using this a lot, but if you're this type of girl or guy, this is going to be really fun for you. This is going to be great. Moving right past that, improved combat superiority. Again, it kind of goes with the territory. At level 10, your superiority dice turns into a d10. I just want to get that before the previous one because it kind of sticks together. But at level 3, you get to have Student of War. Now, the entirety of this ability is kind of fluffy. You gain proficiency with one type of artisan's tools of your choice. Again, you notice the fighter doesn't get any to start, but this is essentially to drive home the point that the Battle Master is not this basic, I don't know, champion, if you want to look at it that way. The Battle Master is a refined warrior. So think of your samurai, think of your cavaliers, think of your gladiators, and hey, bonus points for smithing, sure, calligraphy, you get the point, but you can get more things, and again, just a lot of choices there for you, coupled with some interesting gear choices like a crossbow. Maybe this can go into an entirely different paradigm than what people believe a fighter is. Level 7, know your enemy. This is really cool. This is one of the only things in the game that allows you to do stuff like that. And when you read through it, essentially what it does is, starting at level 7, you can spend 1 minute to size up somebody, an NPC or the boss or an enemy, and this will reveal parts of that character's makeup to you. You can ask for 2 things, and they're very specific. You know, strength, dexterity score, constitution score, armor class, current hit points, total class level, if it has any, maybe just done, and fighter class levels. See, this is kind of cool. So you can have these 2 pieces of information, and they're going to be vital maybe for a very, very important fight, or just to kind of be able to turn to your party and say, yeah, you know, this big guy has this much strength and stuff like that. Or rather, well, I mean, it's kind of based off of your statistics as well, but it's really, really cool. And this is the only class, the only specialization in the game that allows you to do stuff like that. So that's really really kind of fluffy and in the right kind of way. And lastly, the Eldritch Knight. Now, before we get into the Eldritch Knight, I want to say something. We're not going to go into spell descriptions right now. The only thing that you need to remember in terms of the Eldritch Knight is that you're limited essentially to 2 schools of spells, and that's evocation and abjuration. So offensive and defensive spells. That kind of works. That kind of you kind of get the point. The first ability that you're going to get at level 3 essentially is the spellcasting ability. Kind of obvious, really. And the spellcasting ability is gonna, for the fighter at least, is gonna be intelligence. Although the rogue, the Arcane Trickster, also works essentially the same way. You're not a wizard, so you're not gonna have this book of spells. You're not gonna prepare. You're not gonna be a scholar of the arcane arts. No. You have these spells, let's say, always prepared, and you use intelligence to cast them. The spell choice is completely up to you, as long as you stay within those boundaries. At certain levels, you're going to be able to pick from different schools, but the most important spells, the ones that you're going to be using all the time, is essentially evocation and abjuration, offense and defense. Now, this is important. This is important mechanically, not only RP or fluff wise, because this counters one of the greatest weaknesses that the fighter has in terms of mechanics, and that's hordes of enemies. You know, a lot of tiny little guys that usually without any kind of AoE that the fighter simply just does not possess off the bat. Now you can just deal with that. Just say, throw the fireball, just forget about it. Haha. It also allows for a lot of really cool gear and spell combos, like having the shield, having that plate, but also having the shield spell as a reaction. You can stack a lot of armor class, so you get the point. This allows you to break the boundaries of the game, break the rules of the game, and figure out ways to just be this magically infused, you know, bowl of violence and amazingness. Further to level 3 bonuses, you get weapon bond. Yeah, this has a lot of potential. Now, honestly, to be fair, I've never been the Eldritch Knight kind of guy, but looking at as it's written, what it specifically says, you can perform a ritual to bind 2 weapons to you, and once you have bonded a weapon to yourself, you can't be disarmed of that weapon unless you are incapacitated. So it's always on you, it's always sticks to you. Magic, right? It is on the same plane of existence. You can summon that weapon as a bonus action on your turn, causing it to teleport instantly to your hand. So you can drop it, you can throw it, you can cast it into a volcano, doesn't matter. Bonus action comes back to your hand. Further to the point, you can have up to 2 bonded weapons again. So if you're dual wielding, or maybe just a bow and arrow, I'm just throwing it out there. You can keep performing these things. This is important for another mechanical reason, is that if you do not go for the Warcaster feat, and you need hands to cast spells, which is kind of how it goes, you can just drop your large hammer, you can drop your long sword, you can you can throw your spear. Well, not throw, because that's an entire action, but you get the point. You can free your hands, cast the spell, and then just use the bonus action to put it back into your hand, and that's just cool stuff right there. Moving right along, War Magic, beginning at 7th level. When you use your action to cast a cantrip, this has to be a cantrip, you can make 1 weapon attack as a bonus action. Okay, yeah, this can go one of many ways. Like, sure, first thought you have is, oh yeah, I'm going to throw a fireball. Yeah, sure, but there's a lot of cantrips that a lot of these spellcasters find kind of awkward and not really necessary, like Blade Ward, like True Strike, you know, stuff like that. Now you kind of see the point. Like, you can make that one strike with your weapon really powerful, and or maybe just, you know, take some kind of other action with your bonus. But you kind of get the point. This allows you this versatility, this creativity in combat. Like Blade Ward, for example, really good stuff. It's right there for you. And now comes the actual finesse of the Eldritch Knight. Now that you can do stuff like that, is how do you balance between having this damage of multiple attacks? Like, let's say you get to level 11, you can just throw 3 attacks out there at all times. Whenever it's your turn, choose the attack, throw 3 attacks out there. Maybe you have advantage. You're gonna deal a lot of damage. Is that, you know, more or less damage than the spell you can cast, or the combo of spell and action that you have prepared? Is that more important than hitting the guy 3 times? So that's kind of how the Eldritch Knight goes. Again, combos are way too many for even 2 videos to kind of get into. But if you're that kind of fighter player, then this is right there for you. Eldritch Strike, 10th level, you learn how to make your weapon strikes undercut a creature's resistance to your spells. Kind of cool. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, that creature has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes against a spell you cast before the end of your next turn. Yeah, this essentially, again, the fighter is a combo kind of class. So maybe you're not gonna have 20 intelligence. I'm just throwing that out there. You're not a wizard. Again, you're not this person who's completely geared towards just throwing magical, you know, fantastical awesomeness on the battlefield. No, this is gonna help with that. If you have this one spell that deals a lot of damage and you want to make sure that it really gets in there, then hit the guy first, right? And then let's see what happens. 15th level, Arcane Charge, and every time you take your action surge, you can teleport before or after the additional action. Amazing. Up to 30 feet, you can do it once per long rest, I believe. And there you go. So this is just versatility, just further combo potential. Hit one guy, action surge, teleport to the other guy. You can create so many amazing opportunities with this. It's great. It's amazing. Also kind of fluffy, again. So that's really cool. And then lastly, 18th level, improved War Magic. Just kind of ups the War Magic trait 1 level. Essentially, now when you use your action to cast a spell, you can make 1 weapon attack as a bonus action. So now it doesn't have to be a cantrip. You can do any type of spell that you're capable of casting, and then use your bonus action to attack. Again, the combo potential is just unbelievably strong. And there you go. That's the three choices that you have. Each and every one of them is very specific. It's very geared towards some kind of an idea. You know, the ancient elven warrior who's gonna be this Eldritch Knight guy. or just the staunchy human fighter trudging through the mud, being this tactician, this knightly kind of guy, or just go for the Spartan, go for the champion. Don't make it too complicated. Just get that big shield, get that spear, and go be very very athletic and have amazing abs. So that's it. That's part number 2. For part number 3, we're gonna go over some basic combos like races, feats, stuff like that, weapon choices that you might have, and that's gonna wrap the fighter review. I'm really having a lot of fun with this. Fighter is an amazing class, and I think after that, after this, I just made the decision we're gonna do the ranger, just because the paladin we're gonna leave it for last because shining eyes in plate, right? So there you go. Leave your comments below. Let us know what is your favorite archetype. Why do you love it? What's your favorite combo? We're here. We're gonna reply, and just go have some fun, because that's what fighters do, man. They have a lot of fun killing people.